5 bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's roll. Let's go. Firefighters. Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In a few minutes, we'll hasten to the office of Chief Cody at Fire Department headquarters, where the chief is expecting 2 of his favorite visitors, Jimmy and Trudy Collins, brother and sister of fireman Tim Collins. But before we learn what this meeting is about, here's something else you should know. Let's go, firefighters. Let's go to Chief Cody's office at Fire Department headquarters, where the chief is expecting a couple of important visitors. Only yesterday, Chief Cody met the Collinses, fireman Tim with his brother and sister, at the scene of the recent fire in the home of Gilda, Trudy's friend. Out in front of the house, Tim was saying to the children, Hey, hold on, you two. Don't cross those ropes.
Gee, Tim, can't we get closer?
Oh, my goodness, nothing can fall on us just there. We only stand on the sidewalk.
No? What do you suppose those ropes are for?
Oh, just for sort of a hint.
Oh?
So people won't walk on the sidewalk in front of the house and maybe sort of edge up the steps just to look in and then maybe just look around inside for a minute
And crash. Down comes the ceiling on their heads.
Or smash. Down they go right through the floor into the cellar.
And then splash.
Splash? What's that for?
Water in the cellar. Tons and tons. Isn't that right, Tim?
Oh, no. That's all been pumped out.
I want to see.
No. Come back here. You stay outside those ropes.
Oh.
Hey, Tim, where's the window you and Smokey Joe Murphy and Mr. Rubber-Nosed Rubber-Doo climbed in?
I know, that center one up on the 4th floor.
It was not. In the picture in the paper, it was the second from the end.
Oh, Tim, that was a terrible picture. All that showed was your boot.
All right, now, look, kids, if you brought me over just...
Hey, Tim.
Huh?
Somebody's in the house. Golly, do you suppose they're trying to steal what didn't get burned?
Oh, burglars. Let's catch them.
Don't be foolish. That place is all locked up. There's
Well, maybe
no
it's locked up, but the door's opening just the same.
Hey, you're right. I better look into this. Hey there, you.
Who, me?
Hey, it's Chief Cody.
Oh, Timmy, you're being fresh to the chief. You yelled at Chief Cody.
I didn't know who it was, Chief. These kids wanted me to catch a burglar for them.
Well, now, Jimmy, Trudy, you'll have to practice on somebody else. I have lawful business hereabouts, and I can prove it.
Checking over the condition of the building, Chief?
That's right, Collins. The 2nd floor where the fire started is in bad shape. But the framework is pretty solid.
When can Gilda's family move back in?
Not for months, can they, Chief? Until all the insides get rebuilt.
No, not for months, Jimmy. And not even then. Unless they do what they should have done in the first place.
I know. Put up a fire escape. Of course, there's only one stair.
That's right, Trudy.
And just because the artichoke didn't know about fire prevention and safety and things.
Just because the who?
Architect, the man that planned the house before it ever got built.
Tim, was that what she said, architect?
Well, if she didn't, we knew what she meant.
And you've convinced her, Chief, that planning for safety is even more important than planning for good looks.
Is that so, Trudy? I persuaded you?
Oh, yes, Chief. I'm going to give a whole floor talk about that for Miss Lomini's home ec class.
But she doesn't know anything to talk about, Chief. We both looked in the library for stuff, but...
Not only that, they've turned me inside out, Chief Cody. Everything I know about construction.
Well, you learned plenty in training school, Collins.
No, maybe enough to fight fires, Chief, but not enough to satisfy these two when they're planning a talk.
Well, we'll have to do something about that. Hey, how would you kids like to inspect our city through the wrong end of a telescope, huh?
I'd love it. Only...
Yeah, so would I, but what do you mean, Chief?
You'll find out tomorrow afternoon. Drop in and see me down at headquarters.
That was only yesterday. But today at Fire Department headquarters, Chief Cody leads Trudy and Jimmy to the door of a room at the top of the building.
Not many people know about this room, kids.
Well, where do you keep the big telescope, Chief?
Huh? Telescope?
Like you said, Chief.
The one you look through backwards. Well, that's what you said.
Oh, that. Oh, I said I'd show you the buildings of our city through the wrong end of the telescope. And there they are. How do you like them?
Oh, they're sweet.
Dollhouses. Oh, gee.
Oh, there must be 2 dozen. Well, let's see. Little factories, and there's a block of stores. Oh, and look, Jimmy, a little house just like ours.
Yeah. Oh, where's the telescope?
Oh, silly, don't you see? When you look at anything through the wrong end of a telescope, everything gets tiny.
Yeah, man, here are most of the types of buildings we have in our city, Jimmy. In miniature. Tiny, but showing just how they're put together.
Dollhouses. Gosh, firemen playing with dollhouses.
Oh, look, here's one just like Gilda's house, the house that got burned.
That's right, Trudy. Come on, Jimmy. Let me show you how firemen play with dollhouses.
Oh,
Now, don't close your mind up tight till you give me a chance to explain.
Jimmy thinks you're a sissy, Chief Cody.
gee, I do not, but...
But I can see Jimmy's a little ashamed of the old man, Trudy. Well, now, look here. Here's a house just like that one that was burned. And we take off the sidewall.
Oh, it's just sweet. I'm going to build a house like that.
Hey, wait a minute. You don't want a house like that, Trudy. Not even a dollhouse.
Huh? Well, what's the matter with it, Jimmy?
Well, golly, Chief, look. That staircase, it winds back and forth all the way up from the basement to the top floor.
Well, of course it does. And that's a good idea because it saves space.
Yeah, but what about fire? Only one staircase. Well, how are you going to get out if there's a fire and the staircase is burning and...
Now you're catching on, huh, Jimmy?
Hey, that's just what did happen. That's what happened at Gilda's house.
Oh, was it... Oh, I see.
Right, kids. From these little model houses, we know just about what to expect when a real fire breaks out in a real house of this type.
But Tim says every fire's different, Chief Cody.
Well, your brother is right, of course, Jimmy. But at least this little dollhouse tells us that this kind of house just isn't safe.
Well, then I guess I won't build one like that.
Unless you want to get carried down a ladder sometime when it burns up and there's no fire escape, like Gilda's family should have had.
Ooh, there's what I want.
Oh, up there on the shelf?
I never saw one like that, Chief Cody.
Maybe you never will, Jimmy. That's a kind of building nobody puts up anymore.
Can't we see it close to?
Yes, I'll lift it down. Make room on the table, Jimmy.
Well, here, I'll push the bank building over behind the hospital.
Thanks, Jimmy. Now mind the dust.
Stand back and I'll blow it off.
Oh, hey, hold on.
Oh, Jimmy, don't you...
Oh, gee, I didn't think. I just went to...
All right, Jimmy. Just a windstorm in our miniature city. We ought to have the streets cleaned.
But there, it's settling down now. I can see. Oh, my goodness, Chief Cody. You ought to be ashamed. Letting such a sweet little building get all covered with dust.
Yeah, maybe the department wants to forget there ever was a building like that. The old mansard roof.
The what? The mansard roof?
Yeah, that's what they called it in the old days. You see, it was used a lot for a while, gave more space in the top floor.
And that's just why I like it, Chief Cody. The real roof is sort of flat, and then the side slopes out a little, and then it comes down almost straight. So the mansard roof doesn't look too flat. But you can have ever so much more room on the top floor.
Yes, that was the idea. But look here, let's take the roof off the model.
Oh, don't stir up the dust again.
No, I'll be careful. There. Now, look inside, kids.
Golly, there's an awful lot of little beams and woodwork and stuff.
Oh, my goodness, if a fire ever got started in there.
Exactly. And that's what was wrong with the mansard roof. When a fire got started among those beams in the old days, well, there was no stopping it. For a time, everybody was using this kind of roof, this dangerous, inflammable, hazardous mansard roof.
On people's houses, Chief Cody?
On houses, buildings, mills, factories, anything and everything.
But golly, it's a wonder there weren't some terrible fires.
There were.
Well, but not in our city. Oh, my goodness, we must have been lucky.
No, we weren't so lucky, Trudy. We had to learn, like everybody else, that a building that isn't planned for safety is one that should never be built. Didn't you ever hear of the big fire that almost burned our city from end to end?
Oh, hey, yes, ever so long ago.
Tell us about it, Chief Cody.
Were you there? Gosh, as long ago as that?
Well, I wasn't far away. Now, come on, kids, let's go back to my office and get comfortable, and I'll tell you about it. Now, all this happened so long ago, I hardly know where to begin.
Was that when my daddy was chief of the department?
No, longer ago than that, Trudy. Why, my own dad was only a lieutenant then in old 3-1 Hook and Ladder Company. And his driver was a young fellow named Tim Collins, your father's own father.
Oh, my goodness.
Why, Grandpop used to drive horses.
That's right, Jimmy. And back in those old days when the fire bells rang and all the church bells joined in to give the alarm, Tim Collins used to roll.
Hang on, Lieutenant. We're coming into Main Street. You hang on to those reins, Tim. I'll hang on to myself. I'll keep that bell going. All right, clear the track. Give us room. Make way for 3-1. Yow!
Well, Well, now, this is going to be a thrill because Chief Cody is going to tell about the old days when fire out of control raged through the heart of the city, driving back the firemen until it seemed as if the one last hope was to... Oh, but that's for Chief Cody to tell you when you hear the Chief and Tim Collins in our next true-to-life episode of The Firefighters. In just a moment, Chief Bob Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own hometown. But first, here's a message you ought to hear. And now, Chief Bob Cody with a special notice for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. This is your friend, Chief Cody, with a suggestion about safety in the home. You know, a fire extinguisher is a mighty handy thing to have around. A small one, the kind you work by hand. Just be sure it's one of the many types of extinguisher your fire department approves for home use. Now, if there's any question, ask the fireman. And let's hope you'll never have to use it. But for stopping a small fire before it can spread, a hand extinguisher can be first rate. Well, that's all. Goodbye for now.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's go.
Let's go! Firefighters! Firefighters is a copyrighted feature of William F. Holland Productions.